Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Savita Sharma from University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about the module Closed Binaries, Mass Luminosity Relation of Stars, which is from the paper Astronomy and Astrophysics. After studying this module, you should be able to sketch the equipotentials of effective gravitational field around the closed binary system. Then next, you should be able to locate the Lagrangian points in the equipotentials. You should be able to define detached, semi-detached and contact binary systems. Then next, we should be able to explain how matter is exchanged between the two components of the binary system. We should be able to understand how an accretion disk is formed. Next, we should be able to define cataclysmic variable systems and recurrent novae. We should be able to describe the nature of supernovae 1a. We should be able to explain the formation of extragalactic X-ray sources such as Hercules X1 and Cygnus X1. We should be able to describe mass luminosity relation, and at the last we should be able to explain how dynamical parallaxes are determined. So, before we begin further, to have an introduction, in the last few modules, we have dealt with the binary stellar systems. Our focus has been on the use of the binary system for estimating the masses of stars. Since the mass of a star is an important parameter which determines the state of evolution of the star. In this respect, we explained the use of Kepler's third law, which leads to the knowledge of the stellar masses. Spectroscopic binary systems recognized by the oscillating lines in their spectra are important sources of information for stellar masses. The use of Doppler effect enables us to draw velocity curves for these binaries from which the orbital elements of the system can be extracted. The orbital elements are then used to get the stellar masses. If only one set of oscillating spectral lines are observed, then we get information about only and only one star. Complete information of the masses of the two components is possible only when both sets of spectral lines are detected and the inclination of the orbit to the plane of sky is known. Otherwise, we get what is known as the mass function of the binary system. When the binary system is eclipsing, light curve of the system can be worked out. Depending on the nature of the two components and their orbits, we get a variety of light curves. Light curves can be analyzed to estimate not only masses but also radii in some cases of the two components. Apart from their importance in determining the stellar masses, binary systems, especially closed binary systems, are of interest to astronomers for explaining phenomena such as cataclysmic variables and extragalactic X-ray sources like Hercules X1 and Cygnus X1. The latter is suspected to be a candidate for a black hole. We also discussed the mass-luminosity relation. Lagrangian points. When the stars forming the binary group are quite close, there is a possibility of mass transfer between them. Depending on the nature of the components, the mass transfer can cause some interesting phenomena. Above figure shows the surfaces of effective gravitational potential, the balance of gravitational and centrifugal forces around the system. For the sake of simplicity, we take the two stars as point masses. The point L1 is such that the effective gravitational force due to the two mass points just balance. This point is called the inner Lagrangian point. In fact, there are 5 neutral points, the points at which the two forces balance, 2 on the line joining the two mass points and 2 on the line perpendicular to the line joining the mass points. Second figure shows the 4 Lagrangian points in addition to the inner Lagrangian points. And the first figure shows the details of equipotential surfaces of effective gravitational force for two stars. There are 5 points at which the effective field is 0. These points are known as Lagrangian points. Lagrangian point L1, which is in between the two stars, is called the inner Lagrangian point. There are 4 other Lagrangian points. The point L1 separates the two Roche lobes which together make the figure of 8. The particle placed at the point L1 has no force acting on it, so it is in equilibrium. However, the equilibrium is unstable because a slight push to the left or to the right can make the particle move either way, and it cannot recover its original position. Roche lobes. As seen in the figure, the innermost equipotential of the two stars are separated from each other. Imagine that one of the stars, say that on the left, is more massive main sequence star, while the other is a less massive main sequence star. Figure shows the initial configuration of the binary system. They are enclosed inside an envelope of the figure of 8. Each lobe of the figure of 8 is called as Roche lobe. Roche lobes intersect at the inner Lagrangian point L1. A particle of matter placed at L1 experiences no force and does not know which way to move. So this figure is showing the equipotentials of effective gravitational field around the two stars of a binary system. Point L1 is the Lagrangian point and Roche lobes are also shown. Detached binary systems. With the time, both the stars begin to evolve and expand. At the stage when both the Roche lobes are still unfilled, the binary system is said to be a detached binary system. The figure shows a closed binary system is said to be detached when the both Roche lobes are unfilled. We can see the two Roche lobes in the given figure. Semi-detached binary systems. Since the two stars have different masses, they evolve at different rates. The more massive of the two evolves faster than the less massive stars. When one of the Roche lobes gets filled by the expanding star, the system is said to be semi-detached binary system. Because of the pressure of expanding matter in the filled lobe, the matter can push from the filled lobe to the unfilled lobe. In this state, the system is said to be semi-detached. The given figure shows that when only one Roche lobe is filled, the system is said to be a semi-detached binary system. Contact binaries. When both the Roche lobes are filled, the binary system is called as the contact binary system. When the Roche lobe is filled, the matter from this star just pushes through the point L1 towards the other star which has not yet evolved to fill its side of Roche lobe. The matter escaping through L1 falls on the less massive star. The given figure shows when both the stars have evolved so that both the Roche lobes are filled, the system is said to be a contact binary system. The less massive component gains mass and its evolution, being dependent on mass, is accelerated. When its Roche lobe gets filled, the mass transfer can take place in the opposite direction. Later, the mass transfer may again change direction. It is this to and fro mass transfer which gives rise to many interesting phenomena. It is also possible that under certain conditions, the matter may escape the combined system to its surroundings. Depending on the masses of the two components and the state of their evolution, there can be a variety of phenomena that can take place. We give here a few interesting examples of such phenomena. Cataclysmic variables. Let us suppose one of the components of the system is a compact object or a white dwarf star or a neutron star or a black hole, while the other is a normal star. Because of its strong gravitational field, the compact object can suck matter from the normal star. The falling matter gains energy as it falls in the gravitational field. When this matter falls on the surface of the compact object, the kinetic energy gets converted into heat energy. Accretion disk. The falling matter carries angular momentum from the star it left and therefore does not settle on the surface of the compact object. You can see the image of the nova of 1901 century. It forms an accretion disk around the compact object which rotates along with the compact object. Moreover, a hot spot is formed where the infalling matter meets the disk. The hot spot also radiates intermittently. The binary system is said to have become a cataclysmic variable. If the compact object is a white dwarf, the heating of its atmosphere can cause runaway nuclear reaction, generating a huge amount of energy which blows away of the gases in its atmosphere. This explosion can cause brightness with luminosity of the order of 50,000 to 1 lakh units. The event appears like a new star and is called a nova. The brightness subsides gradually and eventually vanishes in a few months. Supernova explosion. Novas are different from supernovas. In contrast to a nova, a supernova is extremely violent event. The latter involves a gigantic explosion of a whole star when it is dying, having exhausted all its nuclear energy sources. A supernova leaves behind a remnant which may be a neutron star or a black hole. In comparison, a nova is a gentle affair involving only a fraction of energy of a supernova. A nova does not destroy the whole object and so can erupt again and again. In this case, the whole star explodes and the maximum brightness produced is of the order of 10 raised to the power 10 luminosity, or reaches an absolute magnitude of approximately minus 20. The explosion leaves behind a remnant which may be a neutron star or black hole. One of the most famous supernova remnants is the Crab Nebula, which at its center has a neutron star. Here the figure shown is the remnant of the supernova explosion that took place in 1054. At the center of the nebula lies a neutron star, which is the famous Crab pulsar. Supernova 1a. If a white dwarf is involved in a binary system with a normal star, it attracts matter from the latter. If mass goes beyond the Chandrasekhar limiting mass for a white dwarf, which is 1.4 solar mass. Since internal pressure of degenerate electrons cannot support the increased mass, the star undergoes a gravitational collapse. Gravitational energy released heats the star so much that it triggers runaway nuclear reactions. Energy generated by nuclear reactions blows the star apart in a huge supernova explosion. Since the mass of the star that explodes is the same, that is 1.4 solar mass, all such supernovae reach the same maximum brightness. These supernovae form a class of supernovae called as SN1A. Since they reach the same maximum brightness, they can be used as standard candles and are used in measuring cosmic distances. Neutron star as contact object. Suppose now that the compact object in closed binary system is a neutron star. Since it has a very strong gravitational field, the energy of the matter falling on its surface is large enough to heat it to a temperature as high as 10 raised to the power 7 Kelvin. At this temperature, the matter can emit X-rays. So, the system becomes a source of X-rays. It has been argued that many variable X-ray sources such as Scorpius X1 and Hercules X1, as shown in the above figures, are binary systems in which one component is a neutron star. The neutron star spins very fast, that is approximately at 1 second. It also has a very strong magnetic field of the order of 10 raised to the power 12 Gauss. These circumstances direct the radiation to polar regions of the star. As the star rotates, the intensity of X-rays varies with the period of rotation of the neutron stars. Here the first figure shows that this slight curve of Hercules X1 showing variability. Each pair of vertical lines delineate the eclipse of the compact object behind its companion star. In this case, the companion is a 2 solar mass star with a radius of nearly 4 times that of the Sun. This eclipse shows the 1.7 day orbital period of the system. The second figure, Uhuru observations revealed the presence of X-ray pulsations in Hercules X1 and confirmed that it contains a rapidly rotating neutron star. Figure adapted the figures by E. Scherer, STSCL, taken from Figure 7 2A in Charles and Seward. Neutron star in a contact binary system. The matter being sucked from the normal companion is heated to such a high temperature that the accretion disk starts emitting X-rays. Rapid rotation of the order of few seconds and very strong magnetic field of the order of 10 raised to the power 12 Gauss of the neutron star channel its radiation to the polar regions of the neutron star. As the star rotates, the X-ray intensity varies with the periodicity of the star. Uhuru source Hercules X1 falls in this category. Black hole as contact object. The same process as in Hercules X1 source is work here, except that the variation in the intensity of X-rays is at the scale of milliseconds, which correspond to Kepler's orbit of only a few Sheward radii. Black holes cannot be observed directly. This is an indirect method. Cygnus X1 is a candidate for the black hole. Figure presented here shows that we find huge fluctuations on timescales of some milliseconds. This is one of the reasons why Cygnus X1 is supposed to be a black hole. Timescales of milliseconds correspond to Kepler orbits of only a couple of Sheward radii. Mass-luminosity relation. Mass of a star is an important parameter to determine the state of its evolution. However, determination of mass by analyzing binary systems is a painstakingly arduous task. Therefore, there is a need to find the masses of stars by indirect means. One such method is to establish a relationship between mass and an intrinsic property of stars, which is relatively easy to determine. One such property is the luminosity of stars. Therefore, the sample of stars whose mass can be found by analyzing the binary systems in which they are bound has been used to establish a mass-luminosity relation, which is then applied more widely. By plotting the luminosity against mass of main sequence stars, a relationship seems possible. Mass-luminosity relation. A relation of the type L directly proportional to m to the power alpha for the main sequence stars is tried. Masses on the main sequence generally range between 0.1 and 100 solar mass. Mass less than 0.1 solar mass cannot be a viable star because of its inability to generate energy by nuclear reactions. Stars of mass greater than 100 solar mass may be unstable. Alpha equal to 3.5, L directly proportional to m to the power 3.5 seems a good lift or good fit for most of the stars. At low and high end, however, there is a hint of departure from this relation. Figure presented here shows the same data that is used in earlier figure, which is now plotted in log-log form. Red dots are the data points and the blue dots represent the relationship of L directly proportional to m to the power 3.5. For most part, the data follows the law, but there is a hint of departure at low mass end and high mass end. The mass luminosity relation generally used is L directly proportional to m to the power 3.5, where L and m are in solar units. This relation is, however, not valid throughout the entire range of masses. As shown in the figure, at the lower and higher ends of mass range, the relation does not seem to apply. For the most part, however, the formula fits the data quite well. dynamical parallaxes. Kepler's third law connecting masses of the binary group, the period P, and the separation of the two components is given as G into P square into M1 plus M2 divided by 4 pi square is equal to a to the power 3. This can be recast using astronomically more relevant units as M1 plus M2 is equal to alpha to the power 3 divided by P to the power 2 small p to the power 3, where masses are in solar units. Alpha is the angular separation of the two components and small p is the annual parallax of the system. When we write this relation as small p equal to alpha p to the power minus 2 by 3 into m1 plus m2 to the power minus 1 by 3, we find that any uncertainty in the knowledge of masses contributes only 1/3 as much as uncertainty in the parallax. It is known that from classes A5 to K0, there is not much change in main sequence stellar masses. So, starting with reasonable masses, say 2 solar mass, we calculate the parallax P. We use this value of small p to refine the estimate of masses, which then yield a better estimate of the parallax. In this way, iterating a few times, we can get accurate estimate of the masses and parallax of the system. The parallax of the system so obtained is called dynamical parallax. This is particularly useful when we cannot find parallax by direct means. The given two figures shows the mass radius relation for the main sequence stars. So, students, let us summarize what we have learnt in this module. First of all, we have learnt about a closed binary system. A closed binary system has 5 Lagrangian points where the effective gravitational field vanishes. Secondly, the inner Lagrangian point separates the two Roche lobes forming the figure of 8. When both the Roche lobes are unfilled, the system is said to be detached. When one Roche lobe is filled but the other is unfilled, the system is said to be semi-detached. When both the Roche lobes are filled, the system is called a contact binary system. If a contact binary system consists of a compact object and a normal star, matter can push past the inner Lagrangian point and can fall in the gravitational field of the compact object. As it falls in the gravitational field, the matter gains kinetic energy. When matter hits the surface of the compact object, kinetic energy gets converted into heat energy of the matter. Since matter carries angular momentum, it does not fall on the surface of the compact object but forms an accretion disk around it. When the compact object is a white dwarf star, the radiation from the accretion disk can explain recurrent novae. By gaining matter from its companion, the white dwarf star can have mass exceeding Chandrasekhar limiting mass, which can lead to supernova explosion. These supernovae are assigned class 1A. Since the exploding star has always mass equal to 1.4 solar mass, supernovae 1A always reach the same maximum brightness. These supernovae can be used as standard candles for measuring cosmic distances. When the compact object in the system is a neutron star, the matter in the accretion disk is so hot that it emits X-rays. This is possible for model for X-ray sources of Hercules X1 type. When the compact object is a black hole, the source of X-rays can be modeled like Cygnus X1. Masses of stars determined by binary systems are used to establish a mass-luminosity relation, enabling the masses of stars to be estimated indirectly. Thank you.